If your bearded iris skipped its bloom this year or gave you fewer flowers than last year, the plant isn't dying, it isn't sick, it's not the soil, it's not the sun, it's not the water. It's crowded. And there is exactly one window in 1 month of the year to fix it. That window is closing right now in July. Miss it, and you don't just lose next spring's flowers, you lose the plant. 90% of gardeners wait too long. They see the leaves start to fade and they tell themselves they'll get to it in the fall. By the time they do, it's already too late. In the next few minutes, you'll learn exactly why July is the only safe month to divide bearded iris. You'll learn how to do it correctly in the right order at the right depth. And you'll learn the one mistake near the end of this video that kills more iris beds than any pest, any disease, or any winter combined. Even people who follow every step correctly ruin their work with this one final error. Why July, not any other month? Bearded iris has a hidden secret in its schedule. After it finishes blooming in late spring, the plant enters a quiet period. The leaves are still green, the roots are still alive, but growth slows, almost pauses. This is the window. In July, the plant is at its lowest energy point of the entire year. It can be lifted, cut, and replanted with less stress than in any other month. The wounds close quickly, the roots re-establish before winter. And the new divisions get 6 to 8 weeks of warm soil to settle in before the first frost. If you divide in June, the plant is still finishing its bloom cycle. Too early, the energy is going the wrong direction. If you divide in September or October, the soil is already cooling. The roots don't have time to grip, and the divisions either rot over winter or survive but refuse to bloom for 2 full years. July is the exact center of the safe window. And what actually happens when you wait too long? So what actually happens when you wait? Let's follow a typical case. You know your iris hasn't bloomed well, you tell yourself, I'll dig them up in the fall when the weather cools. September comes, you dig, the rhizomes look fine, you cut them apart, you replant them, you water them in. Then October arrives, the nights drop into the 40s. The soil temperature falls below 60 degrees, bearded iris roots need soil warmer than that to grow, so the divisions sit, they don't grow, they don't grip the soil. Then the first hard frost hits. The exposed cuts, which never had time to seal properly, absorb moisture from the freezing soil. The rhizomes soften, fungus finds the wounds. By December, half your divisions have turned to mush. By March, you're staring at an empty bed. And even the ones that survive don't bloom the next spring. Often, they don't bloom the spring after that either. This is the real reason gardeners give up on bearded iris. The 4 signs your iris needs division this month. So how do you know if your bearded iris needs to be divided this month? Walk out to your bed today, look for 4 signs. Sign 1, the clump has stopped blooming or blooms only in the outer ring. This means the older rhizomes in the center have exhausted themselves. The plant is starving for space. Sign 2, the rhizomes are visible on the surface piled on top of each other. Bearded iris grows outward year after year. Over time, the older rhizomes get pushed up. If you see a tangle of thick, woody roots stacked at the surface, division is overdue. Sign 3, the leaves in the center of the clump look yellow or thin while the leaves at the edges look full. This is the classic pattern of a crowded plant. The center is dying while the outside is still trying to survive. Sign 4, it has been 3 years or more since the last division. Bearded iris needs division every 3 to 4 years without exception. If you can't remember the last time you did it, this July is the year. The step-by-step division process. Here is exactly how to do it in order. Step 1, choose a dry, cool morning, not after rain, not before rain. The rhizomes must be lifted from soil that crumbles, not clay that sticks. Step 2, take a garden fork, not a shovel. A shovel slices through rhizomes. A fork lifts them whole. Insert the fork about 6 inches away from the outer edge of the clump. Rock it back gently. Work your way around the entire clump, loosening the soil before you lift. Step 3, lift the whole clump out of the ground. Place it on a tarp or the lawn. Do not shake it. Do not bang it against anything. Step 4, rinse the roots gently with a hose. You want to see the structure clearly. You will notice a large central rhizome called the mother and several smaller ones attached to it called the toes. Step 5, take a clean, sharp knife, not scissors, not pruners. A simple kitchen knife works perfectly. Snap or cut the toes away from the mother. Keep only the toes that have a healthy fan of leaves attached and a strong set of white roots underneath. Step 6. Throw the old mother rhizome away. It will not bloom again. Only the young toes will produce flowers next spring. Step 7. Trim the leaves back to a fan shape about 4 to 6 inches tall. This reduces water loss while the plant reestablishes. Step 8. Let the cuts dry in the shade for a few hours until they form a light skin. This is called callousing. Do not skip this step. It is your protection against rot. The one mistake that kills everything. Now, this next part is the one I promised you at the beginning. This is the mistake that kills more bearded iris than any other. Even gardeners who follow every previous step correctly ruin their work with this one final error. Planting depth. Bearded iris is not like other bulbs, it is not like other roots. You do not bury it, you do not push it deep, you do not cover it with soil or mulch. The top of every rhizome must sit at or slightly above the soil surface, fully exposed to the sun. Here is why: the rhizome needs sunlight to bake and harden its top surface. That hardened surface is what protects it from rot. If you cover it, even with an inch of soil, moisture stays trapped against the top, fungus grows. The rhizome softens, by the following spring it is dead. When you plant, dig a shallow hole, make a small mound of soil in the center. Set the rhizome on top of the mound, spread the roots down the sides of the mound. Backfill only around the roots. Leave the top of the rhizome fully uncovered. Then, and this is critical, do not mulch. Do not use wood chips, do not use bark, do not use straw. Bearded iris hates mulch. If you get this right, your divisions will send up fresh green fans. Aftercare that makes or breaks the season. Once your rhizomes are in the ground, aftercare is simple, but most people still get it wrong. Water them once deeply right after planting, then leave them completely alone for a full week, no more water. After that first week, water only if the soil is bone dry for more than 4 days. Bearded iris rots faster from too much water than from any other cause. When in doubt, do not water. Do not fertilize now. Any nitrogen you add in July will push soft leaf growth that cannot harden before fall. Wait until early spring when the fans start to lengthen. Then and only then, apply a low-nitrogen fertilizer around the plant, never on top of the rhizome. Spacing matters too. Give each division at least 12 inches between it and the next. Bearded iris needs airflow. Crowded rhizomes are what got you here in the first place. Do not repeat the same mistake in the same bed. Finally, mark the bed. Push a small stake or label into the soil next to each division. In fall, the leaves will die back. Without markers, you will step on them or dig into them accidentally. So there it is. Your bearded iris needs this every July, not fall, not spring, not when you get to it, July. Look at your bed today, count the years since the last division. Look for the signs: crowded rhizomes, fading blooms, yellow centers. If your plant is asking, answer it. Divide correctly, cut cleanly. Callus in shade, plant shallow, skip the mulch, water once, then wait. Follow every step, and this simple hour of work in July gives you the biggest, boldest bearded iris bloom you have ever seen next May. Miss the window, and you spend 2 full springs looking at an empty bed. The choice is yours, and it lasts about 6 weeks.
I'll see you there.